Today we're going to paint a vase of flowers. I specifically love peonies, so those are one of my favorite flowers that bloom every year in my garden. I have two plants. One is a little healthier than the other, but they bloom these majestic pink flowers or blossoms. I just love them. So grab your size 6 brush and indigo paint and make a little puddle on your palette. One thing with watercolor is you really want to get enough water mixed with your paint. A lot of times students do not mix enough water to paint ratio. So you want a lot of water when you're working with watercolor. Here I just did the whole front of the vase a very light wash of indigo with my size 6 brush, and the reason why I'm making it more transparent is because I'm going to let this layer dry and add a nice detail to the front of this with a beautiful design. Make sure when you're painting this, use your whole brush and all of your bristles. It helps spread the paint. While it's still wet, I like to drop in a little shadow around the edges to show that the vase has volume and takes up space. It looks a little more realistic when you add shadows. And now rinse your brush. When we're done with the whole front of this area, we're going to rinse it and just get a little bit of clear water and paint the very top hollow part where the stems would go into the vase right here. And then dip straight into your indigo, get a very deep value to show that hollow space. And I did get a little bit of puddling, and that happens when you get a little too much water on your brush. So take a nice paper towel and dab that up. It's a very great trick. When you're working with watercolor, you can be confident that you can correct your mistakes a lot of times by just dabbing up if you get too much water on your brush. Now grab a size 2, and this is where you're going to add the detail. Once you've let that first layer and wash dry, now it's time to go ahead and put some detail straight onto the front. In my mind, I was just envisioning vines of flowers, so little squiggly shapes with pom-poms on the end, and I decided to just carry that same pattern all across the front of the vase and just a no rhyme or reason type of pattern, just kind of going all around the front of it. Remember to add light color vines and dark color vines. That gives it variation and interest rather than just one flat looking pattern. When you're working with watercolors, it's great to remember that you work in layers. Some, starting with the very, very background, working your way to the foreground. And watercolor really isn't that hard. You just need to practice with it a lot and be patient, and you'll get some really great results. Some things that really ruin a watercolor painting is if you're overworking the surface. So it can only hold so much water and so much paint. So if you feel like it's getting all muddy and the paper's starting to pill up, it just means that you're overworking it and you need to just stop. And I've ruined quite a few paintings just by overworking it. So kind of finding that nice balance of when is it too much, when is it not enough, and find that middle ground and you'll be great. Beautiful. It's creating such a nice pattern. I just love the look of this vase. I can picture it just sitting on my tabletop. Now it's time to paint the flowers. I grabbed quinacridone magenta, which is a Winsor Newton color. It's a professional grade paint. It has such a very vivid, rich fuchsia pink color, and that's what I was really going for with this. These are the peonies that are in my backyard, pretty much the exact same color almost. And in the very center, when you work with the edge of your brush and just imagine those shapes and use your brush to work for you instead of against you. And I am a very loose painter. It just really brings my heart joy to just let the paintbrush do its thing and get what's in my mind down onto the paper. I start with a very vivid center, so you can tell that the very center of the flower is the deepest of brightest color. And then as I work out, usually petals on the outside edge of a flower are very transparent and just light and fluffy. And so you'll notice as you go around the edge of your flower, just use less vivid paint, and you'll see the petals start to take shape. I love to let the white of the paper, watercolor paper, shine through and use that negative space of the paper to let your eye imagine what those shapes would be where the white of the paper is. And that is the true magic of watercolor, the white of the paper to really make it magical. And creating the stem, I did sap green and ultramarine blue, mixed that together, and I just made a bluish green color. Remembering to make sure your leaves are connecting to the stem, so I angle my brush in the direction I want my leaf to attach to the stem. Vary the sizes of the leaves, some are bigger, some are smaller. I did grab alizarin crimson just to give the flower more volume and shape. So tap in some of that and in around the center of the flower, and it pops off the page. And that's it. It's beautiful. If you do paint this, send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. I love to inspire other artists to get out your brushes and paper and just sit down and make something. It's very refreshing and rewarding. Have a great day.